Here are 5 reasons why INFJs are great manipulators. Number 1. INFJs can use guilt tripping. INFJs are known for their empathy and deep understanding of human nature. They are also very good at understanding and manipulating other people's emotions. This can make them susceptible to using guilt tripping as a form of manipulation. INFJs may use guilt tripping to get people to do what they want in a number of ways. For example, they may make the other person feel like they are letting them down or disappointing them. For example, an INFJ might say something like, "I thought you were my friend, but I guess I was wrong." Remind the other person of all the things they have done for them. For example, an INFJ might say something like, "I've always been there for you, but you're never there for me." Make the other person feel like they are responsible for their problems or unhappiness. For example, an INFJ might say something like, "If you didn't do this, then I wouldn't be so upset." Threaten to withdraw their love and support if the other person doesn't do what they want. For example, an INFJ might say something like, "If you don't do this for me, then I'm not going to talk to you anymore." It could play the victim and make the other person feel guilty for hurting them. So for example, an INFJ might say something like, "You're always hurting me. I don't know why I even put up with you." Now, INFJs may not always be aware that they are guilt-tripping someone. They may simply be trying to express their needs or feelings in a way that they think will be understood. Number 2. INFJs can use gaslighting. Gaslighting is a form of psychological manipulation in which the abuser sows seeds of doubt in the victim's mind, making them question their own memory, perception, or judgment. It can be a very subtle and it can be very difficult for the victim to recognize. INFJs may use gaslighting as a form of manipulation in a number of ways. For example, they may deny or minimize their own behavior. So an INFJ might deny that they said something even if you have evidence to the contrary. They could accuse the victim of being crazy, paranoid, or delusional. For example, an INFJ might say something like, "You're always imagining things." It can make the victim feel like they are overreacting or being too sensitive. So an INFJ might say something like, "It was just a joke. Why are you so touchy?" They could also try isolating the victim from their friends and family. For example, an INFJ might tell the victim that their friends and family just don't understand them, or that they're trying to turn the victim against them. They might also be controlling the victim's environment and information. So an INFJ might monitor the victim's phone and computer, or they might try to control who the victim sees and talks to. To be clear, INFJs may not always be aware that they are gaslighting someone. They may simply be trying to protect themselves or to control the situation. Number 3. INFJs can use love bombing. Love bombing is a type of psychological manipulation where someone overwhelms another person with affection and attention in order to gain their trust and control over them. It is a common tactic used by abusers and cult leaders, and it can be very effective. INFJs may use love bombing as a form of manipulation in a number of ways. For example, they may shower the victim with compliments and affection. So, for example, an INFJ might tell the victim that they love them and that they are the most perfect person they have ever met. They can spend a lot of time and attention on the victim. So for example, an INFJ might want to spend all their time with the victim and call them or text them constantly. They can make the victim feel like they are the only person who understands or cares about them. So for example, an INFJ might tell the victim that their friends and family don't understand them or that they're trying to turn the victim against them. They can do things for the victim that they know the victim wants or needs. So for example, an INFJ might buy the victim expensive gifts or do chores for them. And they can make the victim feel special and loved. For example, an INFJ might tell the victim that they are their soulmate or that they are destined to be together. INFJs may use love bombing to create a false sense of intimacy and connection, and this can make the victim feel like they have known the INFJ for a long time, even if they have only just met. This can make the victim more likely to trust the INFJ and let them into their life. They may use love bombing to control the victim's emotions by overwhelming the victim with affection and attention. The INFJ can make the victim feel dependent on them. This can make the victim more likely to do what the INFJ wants, even if it's not in their best interest. And furthermore, INFJs may use love bombing to isolate the victim from their friends and family, by making the victim feel like they are the only person who understands or cares about them, so the INFJ can alienate the victim from their support system. And this can make the victim more vulnerable to the INFJ's manipulation. If you're loving our content, consider becoming a channel member. As a member, you'll have the power to help choose which video topics we cover, receive exclusive badges to showcase your support, and enjoy priority in our responses to your comments. Number 4. INFJs can isolate others. INFJs may use isolation as a form of manipulation in a number of ways. For example, they may make the victim feel like they are the only person who understands or cares about them. So, for example, an INFJ might tell the victim that their friends and family don't understand them, or that they're trying to turn the victim against them. They can alienate the victim from their support system. So an INFJ might tell the victim that their friends and family are bad influences, or that they're trying to sabotage the relationship. It can make the victim feel like they need to be constantly in contact with them. So an INFJ might demand that the victim always answer their calls and texts, or that they always spend time together. They can monitor the victim's communication with others. So, for example, an INFJ might read the victim's phone and computer messages, or listen in on their conversations. Or they can prevent the victim from seeing or spending time with other people. So, for example, an INFJ might make excuses to prevent the victim from going to social events or spending time with their friends and family. Number 5. INFJs may withhold affection. INFJs may use withholding affection as a form of manipulation in a number of ways. So, for example, they may withhold affection when the victim doesn't do what they want. So an INFJ might refuse to talk to the victim or give them affection if they don't agree to do something that the INFJ wants them to do. They can also use withholding affection as a way to punish the victim. So, for example, an INFJ might just give the victim the silent treatment, or refuse to touch them if they do something that the INFJ doesn't like. They can withhold affection as a way to control the victim. So an INFJ might make the victim feel like they are only worthy of love and affection if they do what the INFJ wants them to do. They can withhold affection as a way to make the victim feel guilty. So an INFJ might tell the victim that they are being selfish or uncaring if they don't give them the affection that they want. When chaos ensues or conflicts arise, INFJs tend to be a calming presence. They can diffuse tense situations and provide a sense of stability, which can be intimidating to those who are more emotionally reactive or unsure about how to handle such moments. Now, to be clear, INFJs may not always be aware that they are withholding affection as a form of manipulation. They may simply be trying to express their displeasure or to get the victim to do what they want. These videos will be really helpful for you.